and welcome back to the How I Ripped Off Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. My name is Chip Thompson, and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. MC.
That would be me.
And this is Chip Season 1, Episode 13, Pool Shark Part 1, which I'm assuming is going to be a Ridley episode.
Yeah.
Little hint there. And what happened last time, MC?
Kat was, stalked.
Yes, she was.
By Chip.
Uh-huh.
But it's fine, though, because it turns out there was some evil pharmaceutical person testing out suicide drugs on her or something. I don't know, some sort of...
Yeah, we've definitely gone down a slightly conspiracy theory route, maybe. Yeah. Maybe hints towards a larger big bad that we haven't had in Chip yet.
Potentially, yes, because he was a flunky of some more sinister, shadowy thing.
And more importantly, Chip was right. He was right to stalk that woman. God, I hope no one ever heard me say that. Because I'm very uncomfortable about the whole thing. But we kind of... There was an attempt to explain it away, as there usually is, about how Chip is a bit obsessed with Kat because she's the first person to show him kindness / sleep with him, even though he's really good in bed.
And also there's a whole thing about her having superpowers.
Yeah, she's a big old mystery cat, isn't she? I think there's going to be a bit more surrounding that. But yeah, Pool Shark kind of hints towards a more Ridley-themed episode, as we said.
Yeah.
So we'll be interested to see if it's more about his kind of conning roots, is it going to be about him being more demon-y?
Yeah.
And what else is going to happen, we don't know.
And there's kind of been a contrast in the relationships between Chip and Ridley and Kat and Ridley, Chip rather, in that Ridley and Chip are slowly getting closer and closer, whereas Kat and Chip are like, I hate you!
I stalk you! Also, I think as the closer Chip and Ridley get, the more you remember his actual name, so that's nice.
Oh my, Dudley, sorry.
Well, let's find out what exactly is going to happen as we get into Pool Shark Part 1. Previously on Chip. Chip, now a little more suspicious, said, "Who are you?"
A question I've asked myself a million times before, and one that can't be answered over a few drinks.
Let's start with a name.
Ridley.
He smiled. The demon Ridley was talking to was just over the 8-foot mark and had a long giraffe-like neck. Its wide red mouth was open slightly, and a clear fluid dripped onto the floor of the bar.
See, if we were playing You're a Moron properly right now, you'd owe me $10. Right now, we play for real.
Again, Ridley slammed the card off the top of the pack onto the bar. A 4 of clubs.
$13.
Ridley held out his hand. Chip pulled his knife out of the demon's head and placed it back into the spring system. "You seem a little prepared for this sort of thing," Kat said, looking at Chip's weaponry. Kat took Chip down by knocking the back of his knees and straddles his back. Using his hair, Kat drove Chip's face into the concrete several times, leaving a puddle of blood and his face a crimson mask. When the tension went out of his body, she stopped, thinking she had killed him. Kat let go of his body and ran as fast as she could. A dizzy Chip was just able to bring his head up to watch her go before passing out from the blood loss. Kat quietly nodded, accepting Chip's words. He took it as her form of an apology. She closed the door, and Chip was once again alone in his apartment. The police officer stood for a second, looking slightly confused when someone tapped him on the shoulder. "Okay, Junior, what we got here?" Detective Jack Bentley showed the cop his badge. Nights like this, Chip didn't like to be cooped up in his apartment. Nights when there wasn't anything to fight. He was out walking late at night in the parts of New York City he was becoming familiar with. What, like the sewers where Kat goes? I'm glad... I know it's only the first sentence, but it's a slightly better opening than the last... Well, the 2 episodes ago, 2 weeks ago.
The last one was so bad.
Oh my god, I still have nightmares about that. I'm still slightly insane from having read that.
Well, and from writing it as well.
He wasn't a fan of staying at home because American television had too many adverts for his liking, and besides which, there was nothing that entertained him.
Normally this is the thing where Chip is being all like, broody, blah, blah, blah. But this was an era where television was shit.
Well, I mean, there was an era when Buffy and Angel were on, so it wasn't that bad.
No, I stand by what I said.
Get out, leave this podcast immediately, I'll finish it on my own.
And American TV does have a lot of ads in it.
It does, yeah, so you're actually agreeing with Chip now,
yeah,
aren't you?
it's right. Oh god, I'm going to start stalking someone now. Other than you, I mean.
He could always sit at home and drink, but with cash tight at the moment, he couldn't really afford booze. Plus, he didn't want to give in to his temptations. There was a possibility of sitting at home and reading, perhaps catching up on some species of demons that he may one day have to face. Unfortunately, he had no such material. All his information on demons now came from Ridley, the half-mutant, half-New Yorkian. Just making up words now.
Also, when he says give in to its temptations with booze, is he referring to? Stalking people? Trying to end the world?
There's been hints of Chip kind of drinking a bit too much, but
okay.
I didn't really understand what alcoholism was back then, so I
Right.
think I just handled that very badly.
Cool.
Yeah, because after the one incident, he really found him with some 7 beer bottles on his floor, and he was like,
Right.
"Oh my god, Chip!" And Chip was like, "Don't worry, I drank them all in one go. It's fine. Just what I had left in the fridge. It's okay." And
Fair
was
enough.
it last episode during the stalking when he was drinking a mineral water to showcase how he wasn't drinking?
That was it.
Subtle. And on nights like this, when Chip would go out searching for demons to fight or evil to stop, he usually just ended up walking a lot until the sun would rise. Because he's so deep!
It doesn't sleep.
He turned the corner onto a long street that during office hours would be busy with cars on the road and people on the pavements, walking in and out of the numerous small grocery shops. Okay, set the scene. Chip was alone until something from above dropped down and knocked him on the back of the head. The ninja quickly sprung to his feet and turned around to see what had put him down. I mean, something must have hit him pretty hard then if he's fallen down. I thought it was like a
Presumably.
rock had topped on his head or something.
Yeah.
2 demons stood in front of him. Their faces were grey and flat with a rounded nose. Their eyes were buried deep into their heads and they wore street clothes with dark coats. That's how you know they're badass, if they wear dark coats.
Street clothes.
What street clothes?
Street clothes.
Clothes you wear on the street.
As opposed to river clothes.
Alleyway clothes. Bed clothes. Another feature that stood out was their lack of arms.
I just want to imagine them charging at him and trying to bite him. Just awkwardly headbutting him.
Oh, God. Oh, I just feel like we're back now, you know, like
classic.
demon
Yeah.
descriptions.
Yeah.
Another feature that stood out was their lack of arms. Chip quickly realised why they had none when a set of tentacles appeared behind both demons. They were long with a tooth on the end.
A tooth.
A tooth.
There's a tentacle. So,
On a tooth on the end of each tentacle?
yeah, but like a single tooth. How do you chew? Do you have 2 tentacles? You sort of awkwardly mash them together.
I maybe maybe I mean like barbs or something like that as opposed to
Yeah.
a tooth. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. All right. I mean, I assume they've got mouths. I didn't mention their mouths, but I assume they've got mouths.
Yeah. We definitely have teeth.
And
We know
no
that.
arms. Yeah. Chip didn't have a chance to inquire as to why he had been attacked when the first demon shot one of the tentacles out, aiming for Chip's head. He just about moved his head to the side and grabbed hold of the tentacle. The demon retracted it, reeling Chip in like a fish on a hook. Ironic, because they've got tentacles. Like a
Oh,
sea creature.
yeah. Great joke.
The irony. I just had a thought. You know the episode's called Pool Shark?
Yeah.
What if it's actually a shark that
think-
plays pool and these tentacle demons are its like minions?
Didn't we say that last time after the giraffe-headed
Yes.
demon?
More
Now it's
amphibious
gonna-
demons. Yes. He reached for a knife in his pocket and stabbed the tentacle now wrapped around him several times, causing it to become thin at one end.
That is the worst description. That is so bad.
Wait, what do I mean?
Well, in the next bit,
Hanging by a few nerve threads, the demon dropped Chip back down to the pavement.
I think what you mean is that he almost severed it with his knife by stabbing it.
Oh!
But causing it to become thin. It sounds like he sort of rolled it out like pastry or something.
Oh boy, what a start. Why is it always... I mean, it's always everything, but particularly the openings. It's like when I'm at my most wanky, you know? It's like a sit down, crack my fingers, type,
Time
type,
to
type,
be a
type,
genius.
type. Take that, Hemingway. He reached for a knife in his pocket and stabbed the tentacle now wrapped around him several times, causing it to become thin at one end. Hanging by a few nerve threads, the demon dropped Chip back down to the pavement. The other demon held his tentacles up. They stretched high into the air. Chip made a note of watching them out of the corner of his eye.
We don't want you.
The demon added.
We wanted your friend.
Chip looked puzzled, possibly because they speak like that, but also because his tentacle got thin for some reason. Chip looked puzzled.
Ridley.
The demon Chip had stabbed said, before regrowing his torn tentacle.
Ooh.
It is no longer thin. Why do you want Ridley? Chip asked.
He owes money to some people that would rather make an example of him than collect what is owed.
I'm very impressed with your ability to roll your tongue.
Thank you.
Is that what I mean?
Ours?
Yeah. Well, I just paid you the weirdest compliment. I can't let you do that.
Another human with his bonds.
The torn tentacle demon laughed.
Sickening.
Can you do a laugh in that voice? No, you sound like Santa being strangled.
Santa having a strangle wank.
Title of your sex tape?
Childhood ruined. By Santa.
God, stop it. Slightly distracted, Chip didn't see the tentacles of the other demon in the air. Wait, there's a comma which has confused me. Slightly distracted, Chip didn't see the tentacles of the other demon in the air grab a concrete block from the roof of the building. It brought it down with lightning speed and drove it into Chip's chest, sending him flying backwards into a green dumpster.
Is that a demon in disguise, though? The skip?
Oh, it's Beatlast, he's back. Gagging now, Chip, don't make a joke. Gagging now, Chip stood up. He felt his ribs and hoped they were just severely bruised rather than broken. The demons were gone, but they had certainly made their point. Ridley, Chip said between a groan of pain. Alright, so it seems like Ridley's conning ways have come back to haunt him here. He's upset some fish.
Who would have thought that repeatedly ripping off demons, evil demons, might eventually...
How do you play cards if you've got tentacles?
They have teeth on the end.
Oh, I'm not trying to be like a racist or
They've
anything.
got
But how do tentacle demons play cards?
I'm sick of this stereotype that tentacle demons with teeth on the end of their tentacles can't play cards, alright? It's not funny, okay?
That sounds like a Trump quote. I don't believe. That's the worst Trump impression. We need to get Dom in.
It's from the South now.
Howdy, y'all. My name's Donald Trump, and I am the president.
I don't think the tentacle demons with teeth on the end of their tentacles can play cards. How do they even pick the cards up?
When the sea sends us their tentacle card-playing demons, they are not sending us their best.
There is a caravan of tentacle demons coming here to try and play cards, but they can't play cards because
they have teeth on their tentacles that are very thin.
This is the dumbest fucking bit we've ever done.
Which is saying a lot, really, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, tentacle demons after Ridley. Cool, right. Ridley! The voice shouted. Oh my god, it's Donald Trump, he's back!
What?
The New York native replied innocently. Lift your sleeves up, the man said. Ridley looked around the large warehouse. There seemed to be only one exit, and that was the small side door by the large dock doors that usually opened to let in crates of a variety of items that came into New York from abroad.
Fuck me, you could have just said loading doors.
But he didn't know what a loading dock was, which is why I had to describe it in this manner. But tonight, it only housed a small table, 52 playing cards, and a lot of plastic chips. Just say they're gambling! Just say they're gambling!
Also, it's in a warehouse, obviously.
Obviously. Abandoned? Probably.
Well, no, because it's clearly in use.
Oh my god, New York is so different to Tokyo.
Abandoned warehouse. I didn't know they made them like that.
Lift them up! He shouted again. Ridley coughed, sighed, and shoved his hand up his left sleeve. As his hand took hold of something, he smiled at his poker opponent, who looked slightly worried. Throwing the cards and startling the man, Ridley bolted for the side door. I'd just like to think he threw 3 cards at him and the guy was like... The huge gorilla, standing in his dark suit by the door, blocked the way with his mighty frame, but Ridley kept running. See,
I
not
don't
sure.
know if you, yeah. Do you mean that literally?
Is it literally a gorilla? Like in Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Just before he reached the bouncer, Ridley mutated, his right side growing in proportion. He hit the bouncer with his increased strength, knocking him backwards into the door and opening it. It's nice he's got control over his mutation now.
Well, yeah, we've had it before in previous episodes where it isn't this sort of Incredible Hulk thing that takes over.
But I think it was initially, but he's like... I think I'm trying to show gradually that he's getting more and more control over it. He's using it to his advantage now.
Yeah.
God, that's going to make him even worse when it comes to conning people, isn't it? Ridley continued to run, putting as much distance between himself and the warehouse as possible. He changed back to his human form and turned a corner. He might have lost a great deal of money by not picking up the winnings, but at least he was, before Ridley could finish his thought, he ran into someone's outstretched elbow, knocking himself unconscious. I'm guessing this is an intentional elbow rather than him just being incredibly clumsy. And also, how tall is he if he's running to someone's elbow? I think someone's, elbowed him in the face, right?
Yeah.
But I've just explained it extremely well, like
Just
I
for a
normally
change,
do. At least he didn't run into a tentacle.
Yeah, true.
Tentacles don't have elbows.
Elbows? They have teeth.
Oh, God.
These damn tentacles with elbows and teeth. What's next? Noses.
Stop going back to the rubbish bit. Evening. Chip sat down on a stool at the demon bar. Mock swallowed hard as his eyes came to meet the ninjas. His bruises and wounds suffered at the hands of Chip were now almost fully healed, and he had finally started serving at the bar again. Sounds like Mock's got, PTSD or something.
I mean, I don't blame him.
Yeah, and Chip's just coming back into the bar to, mock him? Hey! What do you want? He asked with a gruff voice, but I couldn't do that in a gruff way because you wouldn't know it was Mock's voice. The demon bar was busy tonight. Some sports event on the television, and some of the demon and human occupants seemed to be pretty rowdy.
I love the idea of demons getting into a fight over their favourite sports team.
I'm looking for Ridley, Chip said, trying not to sound too aggressive. Has he been in tonight?
Is Chip feeling guilty about beating the crap out of the barman?
Just say sorry, come on. Haven't seen him. Mock walked away to serve some customers down the other end of the bar. Chip huffed and went to get off the stool. He got a little help when someone pulled him from his arm. He got a little help when someone pulled him from his arm from the stool to the floor.
So you spelled stool wrong. Stool is in horse stool or toilet stool.
But I spelled it right previously.
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounds like if someone literally detached him from his arm the way you've written that.
Looking up, Chip saw that someone was actually something. A demon that resembled a Wookiee from Star Wars, only with much darker hair and a more expressive face. So a Wookiee. That's not resembling, that is literally a Wookiee.
Like a Wookiee, but with more hair. And it goes more. That was a terrible Chewbacca impression.
You sound like Santa giving a choke wank.
That was actually the inspiration for George Lucas.
He looks a bit like Santa.
George Lucas likes to have a choke wank.
Oh no, stop it. Stop it, that's how we got Jar Jar. Stop it, okay? Oh no. Not giving the Chip the chance to ask what was going on, the demon kicked him hard in the face with his snakeskin boots. Cowboy Chewbacca? Bleeding from the nose now and his ribs still hurting, Chip was lucky to avoid the first attempted stamp from the demon by rolling to one side. He caught the demon's foot at the second attempt. Not in here! Mock yelled out from behind the bar. Okay, Chip said. It's just so casual, Chip. The Chip.
He's trying to be nice to Mock now.
I guess so. And there is, unwritten, or maybe actually a written rule about violence in the demon bar. So he twisted the demon's foot, snapping the bone outside, and used his ninja strength to launch his attacker through the open front door and into the street outside. Yes, absolutely.
I feel in a way through an open door is even more impressive than against a wall. Because it's a much smaller target.
Yeah, you've got to have good aim, I guess. Yeah, definitely drink for that. Chip went to leave the demon bar to settle up with his attacker when he was rugby tackled from behind by two more hairy creatures.
Ewoks,
definitely Ewoks. They drove Chip outside and into the opposite wall. Wait, they drove him outside and into the opposite wall. Would they push
In
him
a car.
all the way across the street?
No, they drove him in a car.
What is happening? Chip's just getting randomly attacked by, like, Ewoks and octopuses. Like, Jesus Christ. Do we think this is more debtors that Ridley owes?
Yeah, I was assuming so, but maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, Chip's done a lot of bad shit as well, so who knows what they're in for.
Yeah, is it like National Get Your Debts Back from the Half-Demon Poor Shark Day?
Yes.
Okay, it's a popular day in New York.
That is actually the full title of the episode. The blurriness quickly disappeared from Ridley's eyes and head, and he was able to see where he was. Tied to a large pole somewhere in the docks on a pier. The sea lapped at the wooden structure below, giving a calming effect. But Ridley knew that he wasn't there for leisure. This was strictly business.
Well,
I don't know what any of that means.
It's kind of telling that he thinks like, well, I'm tied to a large pole on the docks, but it's not leisure this time. This is a business trip.
It's literally like a meeting for him, like a Zoom call.
He likes to do it on his days off as well.
He had dealt with a lot of people and otherworldly beings in his lifetime, and only one of them had worked out of the docks in New York City. Everyone else was too afraid. Weizenstein! A voice said.
In the practice, you sounded quite New York. That one sounded German.
I'm trying, MC, okay?
I'm in no position to criticise anyone's accents or voice acting.
The thing is set in New York. We have very bad New Yorkian accents as it is. We have like established characters that have these accents. There's only so much range, MC, okay? Weizenstein! A voice said. Better?
Yeah.
Good, thanks. Ridley recognised it instantly. The accent was New York, but the pronunciation of S words was slurred, and the smell of the breath was of blood and eaten flesh.
I hope that no more of your demons or characters or whatever have stage directions with the voice. 'Cause I think it's better where we just make it up ourselves. It's a lot easier.
Bites appeared in front of him. Bites was a little shorter than Ridley and wore a long raincoat. He also usually wore a hat to cover his shark-like face and jaw, but with the docks empty, Bites was able to go about his business.
I like how we made jokes about, haha, what if it's a shark? And past Chip was like, haha, he's a shark.
Do you think when I started to write this season, I'd been to the zoo recently or something, and I was like, oh, giraffes, gorillas, octopus, sharks. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Also, he's called Bites. Do you think his mother called him that, or was that like a nickname he gave to himself? He's actually called Jeffrey.
Hello, Bites.
Ridley said, hello, bro. Ridley said,
I'm guessing this fog in my head is thanks to you.
speed you were running, Ridley. I sure as hell wasn't gonna catch ya.
It's really not an intimidating shark man voice, is it?
Oh, Bites definitely got bullied in high school.
How's the family?
Ridley had played cards with Bites a few times in the past, but he wasn't one of Ridley's cash machines. The shark-looking demon hadn't earned his name Bites by eating small meals.
It's an ironic name. His table manners are impeccable.
His brother is the one that eats small meals, and he's called Weight Watchers. He wasn't someone you conned. Neither was his employer. Ooh. Very good, Bites replied. Growing all the time. I gotta keep work all the hours God sends just to feed them. He licked his teeth. I'm really struggling with this voice.
You're doing well, man. Next time, if there are directions on how they sound, we'll just ignore that bit.
Okay, good.
We both know you don't work for God, Bites.
But there's no comma there.
Yeah, you don't. We both know you don't work for God, Bites.
Is that his employer? They've got a prefix of where they are in the company.
God Bites sounds like a fast food chain that's attached to a church. When you've been at church all Sunday and you want some lunch, come to God Bites.
That's true. Which brings us to why we are here. You owe Ridley.
Sounds like he owes Ridley. Like he owes himself. The way it's...
Yeah.
It should be you owe Ridley.
Yeah, like maybe that's why he's kidnapped him. It's like, I owe you money. There you go. Now let's go get something to eat at God Bites.
I was just on my way to see you about that. Why do you think I was running?
Bites just nodded.
I was on my way to drawing the money out and was just about to make my merry way up here and settling my debt.
How was Ridley a good con person? Bite buried a fin-like fist into Ridley's stomach.
It doesn't sound that bad.
Okay, how do you make a fist out of a fin?
I guess you sort of curl the end of it over.
That really doesn't sound that bad, does
No.
it? No. He's called Bites. He's a shark. Bite him. No, Bull. You pay.
Yeah, of course. Just that I don't have it on me at the moment, so if you could just untie me.
I'm under strict orders to get it through to you that if you don't pay with something green, then it'll be with something red and fleshy. Again, Bite's not that intimidating right now, is he?
Everyone just feels sorry for him.
He's got this job out of pity.
Yeah,
he's got his uncle company or something.
Yeah, Bites, you're really scary, mate. Oh, that when you hit me with a folded over thin. Oh, feeling that for weeks, mate.
We described him as wearing a raincoat, and now I just picture him wearing one of those like bright yellow ones that Georgie wears in It. Bite bit through the ropes that held Ridley to the pole, resulting in him being free. 24 hours, Ridley. That's what we're giving you. Now, we both know that you're too bound to this city to leave it, and I personally don't think even you are that stupid. Pay up, or else you'll be seeing a lot more of my family. Ridley nodded and started his slow walk away. Ooh, so yeah, it's definitely come back to bite Ridley in the ass then. Yeah.
Bite.
Well, yeah. Finn punched him in the ass. Oh no, that sounds wrong. No. Feeling the demon's neck crack, snap and pop, Chip let its dead corpse fall to the floor. Dead corpse.
It's a chiropractor to dead demons.
And I made a reference to a popular British breakfast cereal as well.
Sure did.
Brilliant. He often wondered what happened to the numerous mutilated, beaten and broken demon bodies he left after a battle. But he wasn't thinking about it too hard tonight.
Here's a point.
I guess that's a little meta reference to
Yeah.
demon bodies being strewn all over New York. In the space of a few hours, Chip had been attacked twice by strong demons who could hold their own in a one-on-one fight against a ninja. I mean, they weren't really one-on-one, it was 2-on-1 and then 3-on-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And he didn't seem to have much trouble with them.
No, because the octopus has just kind of left and...
Yeah.
Yeah. It had been another thing he had noticed since being in New York. The demons that populated the area were a lot stronger than the ones he had faced before. Or maybe he was just weaker. He didn't like to think like that, though. I haven't really noticed that if that's been the case.
No, because there's always been demons that beat him. There's always a bit where they get beaten up and then they have to fight back and blah blah blah.
And there was a whole thing about vampires don't come to New York because it's too spoopy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I get the idea. I'm trying to make Chip sound more badass than MC and the rest of their gang, but I just don't buy it at this point. It took a lot longer to walk to his destination as his body was hurting. Physical pain was something you really never got used to. Sure, you could shrug it off more and more and be able to continue in a battle, but it didn't make the blows hurt even less. Chip spat out a mouthful of blood and turned the corner. He wasn't far from where he was going now. Kat's apartment.
Oh no, he's starting again.
Oh god, he's gonna get to his little special bush where he's got his binoculars stashed away and ugh. When there weren't a dozen or so sirens whizzing past, this area of the city was pretty quiet. As was the building Kat lived in. With the exception of the odd hobo, looking for a roof to shelter from the rain. The clouds looked heavy tonight, and Chip felt the first spots of rain as he entered the building. Down the end of a long hallway, Chip could see that Kat's door was dented after the confrontation last time he was there. He knocked on the door twice, but didn't get an answer. He called out, "Kat, it's Chip." I'm sure she's definitely looking forward to seeing him.
Just thought I'd stalk you.
I'm just going to be outside in the bush, so just give me a wave or something. The sound of a lock being turned and the chain coming off the door preceded Kat standing in the doorway. She looked tired, raggy, and unclean. She looked a shadow of her normal cocky and sexy self.
Oh, good, cool. Let's just describe her in terms of how attractive she is. Awesome.
And, if you describing women and literature as and their attractiveness is really horrible and a thing that happens far too much. But sexy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a leering kind of term, isn't it? Ugh. Can I come in? Chip asked. Kat just stood in the doorway. The door only opened a little bit so Chip couldn't see inside. You got company? He said. No. Kat replied after a few seconds' pause. Oh, well, it might break your perceptions of me. I've learned my lessons after being a great big slut.
Now I'm saving myself to marriage. I'm going to give birth to 10 beautiful Christian children. Is that right, Donald Trump? Yeah. But why do they have teeth on the end of their tentacles? It doesn't make sense. They can't play cards.
We shouldn't allow them, and God bites everywhere.
God.
Hey, she's even referring to herself as a great big slut.
Yeah.
I never... Chip stopped and quickly changed tack.
It was like, no, I did call you a great big slut.
Yeah. Chip, you're the bad person in this scenario. How are you feeling? I could use some backup tonight. You wouldn't believe... I'm coping. She blurted out, taking Chip by surprise. I think I'm getting better. Possibly not, but there's something I need from you. Name it. Get lost. Don't come back here for a while. Chip slowly nodded, and Kat closed the door, locking it behind her. Yes, a fair enough reaction, I think. Yeah, just fuck off. Just leave me alone.
I know you've had a traumatic experience, but I need you to get into a bunch of fights.
Chip rubbed his forehead with bruised fingers, turned on his heel, and walked away. He guessed he was right. He wasn't the one to help Kat.
But you stalked her for so long.
Also, he guessed he was right?
I think she was right, is what you meant.
I think so, because I don't think I'm saying Chip was definitely right to stalk her and save her life, and also he's doing the right thing here as well by going to her and be like, hey, can you help me with something? I need a thing from you.
If you can stop crying about your traumatic experience. Yeah, it's the guy who was stalking you earlier.
Can you stop being such a big slut? Is that okay? It was getting late. Or early in most people's lives. But Chip felt tired, and he figured he'd catch up with Ridley tomorrow. Something was up with him, and it didn't take a genius to work out that gambling would be the issue somewhere down the line. I like that several demons have attacked Chip trying to get to Ridley, and he's like, nah, I'll do it tomorrow. Cat doesn't want to help me, I'll do it tomorrow. Chip sighed. He'd been in bed only a few hours, and the New York sun was peering in through a hole in his curtains.
Wake up,
Ridley said again, pushing Chip's shoulder. I locked the front door, Ridley. How did you get in?
That's got to be the easiest lock to pick in the whole city. But enough about that. Get up. I want to talk to you.
Do you think Ridley attempted to knock first and Chip didn't hear it, or did he go straight for the lock picking?
I'm going to give Ridley the benefit of the doubt and assume that he did knock once, quietly.
Chip should just give him a key at this point, right? Yeah. Ridley left Chip's bedroom and went into the living room of the apartment. Chip put on a white t-shirt and a pair of black jogging bottoms and joined Ridley. What's the emergency?
Nothing. Well, not really. Nothing world-threatening, anyways.
Chip stared at Ridley for a while, trying to get him to continue.
I've been caught, ain't I?
Caught? Chip asked, slightly confused.
Yeah, they caught up with me.
Who?
Some people. I owe them a fair amount of cash, and last night, they got me.
Funny, they got me too.
What?
Chip explained about the 2 attacks last night.
Oh, those guys.
Ridley waved them off with a hand.
They ain't nothing compared to... I can't do it. I can't make the deadline.
I can help. Chip stood from his sitting position.
You can't fight this, Chip. It ain't the sort of being you can pummel into oblivion.
Then we'll get the money.
How? You gonna make lemonade?
Ridley yelled.
Stop trying to help me, God!
Chip seems so insistent on helping Ridley, which is kind of sweet.
Yeah. And Ridley hates him for it.
These relationships have blossomed into very weird things, haven't they? There's other ways. Banks, safes, anywhere with a lot of money in one place at a time. We hit them, and we get what you owe. Whoa, hang on.
Hey, look, okay, can't fight it, can't make lemonade, guess I'll rob a bank. What? Those are your 3 options.
What? I feel like we've missed 3 seasons or something. And Chip's saying let's rob a bank. I'm done with stalking. I want to do a different crime.
No.
Ridley shouted again. I think you need to calm down. Chip reached out to put a hand on Ridley's shoulder. The New York native reacted by flinching, just brushing Chip's ribs with his elbow. The ninja's natural reaction to the pain was to reach out more aggressively. Ridley quickly mutated and grabbed Chip by the throat, throwing him backwards into the wall, and landed on a bookcase, causing it to smash into a dozen or so pieces. What's happening? This is rapidly moving on, isn't it? Ridley...
It went from, hey man, could you use some help? Sure, how can I help? No, don't help me. Fine, we'll get in a fight.
But also, it's gone from Chip. So Ridley broke into Chip's house,
Yeah.
woke him up, was like, "Hey, I owe some money." "Oh my god, I can't do it. I can't." Chip's like, "Okay, we'll rob a bank." Ridley's like, "No, we're gonna beat you up now." What's going on?
I do wonder if maybe his under stress's demon side is sort of taking over again.
Okay,
a bit.
yeah, that's a really good explanation. Why does Chip want to rob a bank?
Because he's bored of stalking.
And he couldn't get a job, I guess, so maybe he's selfishly like, "Oh, I could get some money as well."
Yeah.
Ridley quickly mutated and grabbed Chip by the throat, throwing him backwards into the wall and landing on a bookcase, causing it to smash into a dozen or so pieces. By the time Chip came to, the apartment was empty. And that's where we're going to end part 1 of Pool Shark. So it was literally a shark. It was literally a debt-collecting, raincoat-wearing, fin-punching shark called Bites.
With an extended family.
Well, that was a confusing episode, MC.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, why is everyone cashing in on the debts with Ridley all of a sudden? All these animal-themed...
Well, you said it was Pool Shark Day, remember?
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's the time to do it. Yeah. Every year, all the family gets together. They beat up all the people that owe them money.
Santa has a choke wag. And Donald Trump judges you for being a slut and doesn't like card-playing tentacle monsters.
Oh, boy. I never want to praise myself with this or anything like that, and even if there is anything slightly good. But
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like I do have a slight through line of the way the characters are, and like at least there's an idea of where I want them to go, what
Sure.
they want them to do, how they would react to situations.
Sure.
This is like, it was co-written by someone who'd never read it before. Kat saying I'm a great big slut was really horrible.
Yeah, I feel that's pretty on brand for you, though.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, for 16-year-old me, please.
Yeah,
please.
yeah, sure, yeah.
God, not me now. I don't like to slut shame women. I really don't. I promise. And Chip sort of going to her for help when.
I think he's done that before, right?
Yeah,
I feel that's the thing he's done.
But after the whole.
Oh yeah, like
Stalking.
timing bad.
Yeah. And then just the thing with Chip and Ridley, who we thought they were bros, but.
I still think that it is Ridley reacting under stress, demon thing coming out, all that
Okay,
stuff. I think that's my theory.
Okay, that's a couple of things we've solved then.
Yeah.
Bites is just Bites, we can just leave that.
Yeah.
There was a literal gorilla, that's fine. Yep, that was all fitting with this. Why does Chip want to rob a bank all of a sudden?
He needs money quick.
But is it a sort of, oh, I just desperately want to help my friend in any way possible?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Probably. He's been watching Ocean's 11.
Well, if you've got any theories as to what banks Chip can hit to get some money quick.
No. I feel like that's some sort of crime. Don't do that.
Some sort of crime. Okay, fine. Well, if you've got any theories as to why Chip wanted to rob a bank,
Sure.
there's numerous ways in which you can get in touch. You can find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/HowIRippedOffPodcast.
And we are on Twitter at How I Ripped Off.
And you can find our entire back catalogue on SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and YouTube.
And if you want to leave us a review of your favourite bank and not include how easy it is for a ninja and a half demon to rob, rating and review.
Yes, exactly. Leave us the amount of stars you get for your prison sentence.